There is a young black man, the youngest head of state in the world. But here's the terrifying part. Western media is completely silent about him. Why? His name is Ibrahim Traoré, and he's not a celebrity, not a tech billionaire, not a football star. He is a soldier who became a president. But more than that, he is a man who dared to stand up against global powers. And for that, he's being erased. You haven't heard about him on CNN. You won't see a documentary about him on Netflix. He's not featured in Time magazine's Leaders of the Year. And yet, in a small landlocked country in West Africa, this man is rewriting history. So what is it about Ibrahim Traoré that's so dangerous to the status quo? Why are powerful nations pretending he doesn't exist? Because Traoré is doing something unthinkable in today's world. He's fighting for his people, not for profit. He's kicking out foreign troops. He's rejecting foreign aid with strings attached. He's telling his people to stand on their own feet. In an age of media manipulation, wars for resources, and global agendas, a young African president, speaking about sovereignty, dignity, and independence, is a threat. Not because he's violent, but because he's fearless. And when you hear his story, you'll understand why some people want to keep you in the dark. Ibrahim Traoré was not born into power. He had no royal lineage, no political family, no elite education in Paris or Washington. He was born in humble surroundings in Burkina Faso, a country many Americans couldn't even find on a map. He joined the military, not out of ambition, but necessity. Life in Burkina Faso was tough. Corruption ran deep. Terrorist groups plagued the countryside. The people suffered while their leaders lived in luxury. Traoré served on the front lines and saw with his own eyes how the fight against terror was sabotaged from within. Leaders were more interested in pleasing foreign powers than protecting their own citizens. It broke him, and then something changed. Quietly, methodically, he began to rise through the ranks. Not because he craved power, but because he couldn't watch his people suffer anymore. When the previous military government proved itself to be just another puppet regime, Traoré acted. In a swift, bloodless coup, he took control. But here's what's different. He didn't claim power for himself. He claimed it for the people. Western nations didn't take him seriously at first. A 34-year-old African president with no polished PR team, no Harvard degree, no connections in Brussels. They thought he'd fall in line like the rest. They were wrong. Traoré's first move? Expel French troops stationed in Burkina Faso. These soldiers had been there for years under the pretense of fighting terrorism, but the violence never stopped. It got worse. So Traoré asked a simple question. If these troops are here to help, why are we still dying? Then he did what no other leader dared to do. He ordered them out. The French embassy panicked. Diplomats scrambled. Media outlets spun the narrative. Traoré is anti-Western, but he didn't care. He stood before his people and said, "We will never be free as long as foreign boots patrol our land." And the people? They didn't just cheer, they wept. For the first time in decades, someone spoke for them. Now ask yourself, why wasn't this front-page news? Imagine if a 34-year-old man in Europe had expelled foreign forces, taken back his country's resources, and united his people. He would be on every magazine cover. But Traoré, silence. Why? Because his message threatens powerful interests. He's not asking for aid. He's not begging for loans. He's not selling his country's gold, cotton, or uranium to the highest bidder. Instead, he's building alliances with other African nations. He's proposing a federation, an African defense pact. No more begging, no more foreign dictates. And here's what terrifies the West the most. His ideas are spreading. Across Mali, Niger, and beyond, young leaders are quoting him, following him, standing with him. Suddenly, France is being pushed out. US influence is being questioned, and the world order is shaking. But Traoré's revolution is not without consequences. He faces enemies within. Elites who benefited from foreign deals now want him gone. Assassination attempts, military mutinies, smear campaigns. In April 2025, an attempted coup was thwarted. Traoré's response: calm, resolute, and strategic. He addressed the nation not with fear, but with strength. He reassured his people, "We are not going backward." Meanwhile, international organizations are cutting ties. Sanctions loom, but instead of folding, Traoré doubles down. He calls for agricultural reform, local manufacturing, and resource nationalization. He tells his people, "We must suffer now to live free later." And, incredibly, they believe him. Because for once, they see a leader who walks with them, eats what they eat, sleeps where they sleep, wears no gold, lives in no palace. Now you may wonder, what does all this have to do with us? Everything, because Traoré reminds us of the spirit America was built on: freedom from tyranny, resistance against empire, self-governance. This young African president, with no PR machine, no billionaire backing, is doing what America once did, telling the world, "We will be free." And yet, instead of celebrating him, our media ignores him. Why? Because he doesn't fit the narrative. He's not controllable. He doesn't say the right sound bites. He threatens the systems that benefit the few at the expense of the many. But the truth is, we need more men like Traoré. Men who believe in sovereignty, in family, in country, in honor. Men who serve, not rule Ibrahim. Traoré is not a myth. He is not a legend from a forgotten land. He is real. He is alive. And right now, he is risking everything to free his people. But the world will try to forget him, to bury him under headlines about celebrities and scandals, to silence him with disinformation or death. Don't let them, because if we forget the ones who fight for justice, we forget who we are. If you believe freedom is worth more than silence, if you believe truth should not be censored, then share his name. Let it be spoken. Let it be known. Let it echo. Ibrahim Traoré. The story of Ibrahim Traoré is more than politics. It's a lesson in courage. In a world where leaders often choose comfort over conviction, Traoré chose the hard path. He reminds us that true leadership isn't about age, race, or titles. It's about standing up for your people, even when the world turns its back on you. And that's a lesson we all need today. Whether you're raising a family, running a business, or just trying to do the right thing, the world needs more people who choose principle over popularity. So now, I turn to you. What do you think about Ibrahim Traoré's stand for sovereignty and dignity? Had you heard of him before this video? And why do you think his story has been buried? Leave a comment below. Your voice matters more than you think. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, subscribe to this channel. We're building a community of truth seekers, of freedom lovers, of everyday heroes who care. Let's make sure men like Ibrahim Traoré are not forgotten, but remembered, honored, and followed. Because the world needs brave hearts. And maybe you are one of them.